Welcome to the G-Spot, partake in stimulating discussions that may lead to an arousal of opinion. I am your host, Majesty, and today, I don't know, I think I might turn y'all opinions on today. I don't think y'all gonna like what I'm gonna say, but it's okay because somebody gotta say it. I think y'all should let y'all children date. And wait, before you suck your teeth, let me specify. By children, I mean teenagers. And yes, that does include 13. Let's get into it. We're doing a disservice to our teens by not allowing them to date. Not because they're wild, not because they're fast, but because we keep acting like dating is something they'll just magically figure out. They won't. I understand the intention behind it. Wanting our children to grow, to mature, to stay focused, to be protected, all of that makes sense. But interacting with other people, developing feelings, learning about attraction, disappointment, and communication, that too is a part of growing up. Because if we being honest, in the Black household, we only handle dating one or two ways. Either A, you better not be dating. Yeah, I bet you better not be dating. Or two, we just don't talk about it. Yeah, don't talk about it, out of mind, out of sight. And then we act surprised when our children don't communicate, don't understand boundaries, confuse attention with affection, pop up pregnant or with a baby, or think toxic behavior is normal. We've made dating taboo instead of educational. And not talking about it is not protection. Silence is neglect with good intentions. Asking our children to mute their feelings until they're 18 or done with college, it is not realistic at all. I know some of y'all be joking, but some of y'all be dead serious. Y'all be like, yeah, my daughter can't date until she done with college, until she like 30. And how old are you? See, feelings don't work on a timeline, and attraction don't wait for a permission slip. The fact that we have overgrown people to this day that still don't know how to date or communicate, don't know how to deal with disappointment or rejection, is all the validation I need in order to know that dating requires guidance. Because if a lot of us had learned early on, we'll be in better situations, better relationships, and just better people as a whole. A lot of us parent from our own experience. And while I agree that parenting is partially us teaching our children from our experiences so they don't make the same mistakes we made, it's still not healthy to just tell them, don't date. No. Instead of teaching them how to navigate relationships. Let's talk about friendships real quick. Our kids come home all the time and tell us about situations they've had with their friends. Something that hurt their feelings. Something they didn't like. Something they probably didn't know how to process. And as parents, what we do, we step in and we guide them. You see, we already doing it. We help them regulate their emotions, reinforce their value, and remind them of the morals and boundaries that we've taught them. What we don't do is tell them, you can't have no friends. Yeah, You're not ready for that type of things that come with friends. It's, you can get upset with friends, and you can, you might want to fight your friends and stuff like that. So you can't have friends because I don't think you're ready to process those type of emotions. That's what we don't do. So why is dating so different? I know why, and we're going to get to it. If your 13-year-old is dating, that doesn't mean that you abdicate responsibility. It means you guide them through those same scenarios. Communication, boundaries, self-respect, disappointment, empathy, self-regulation. We wouldn't send our kids out in the middle of the street without teaching them how to cross it. So why do we send our children out into the world, into relationships with no tools? And we're talking about if we're waiting until they're 18 and 30 years old to date, you're still sending them out there with no tools. I really just think it's disingenuous when parents say, oh, children, they're not ready to date. They can't handle that. My mama told me not to date. And guess who had a boyfriend all through middle school? You guessed it right. Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. But honestly, I'm glad I didn't listen. I was able to learn so much by having my little boyfriends. Sorry, mama. But I'm so happy I didn't listen to my mama because I was able to learn early what I didn't and didn't like. I was able to learn how boys behaved. I learned the patterns. I learned that people be lying. I was able to see how the snakes really move. I learned what I was and wasn't attracted to. This is important. I think that y'all just be like, it's y'all that can't deal with allowing your teens to date. Is you that can't deal with your child growing up in this certain parts that you're just like, oh, no, not yet. And I'm not faulting y'all. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that I think it's a lot to be learned in this situation when you look at our children now that are still dating, mind you, even though you say that they can't. Me dating early saved me from unnecessary heartbreak later on. I was able to know the game. I got taught the game young. I was on to you. I was hip to it. Now I know that everybody not like me. I know that your children may not be the type of child I was because I was just, my brain is my prized possession. I love thinking. I love observing. I was just, I was probably a little different. I don't know. But what I do know is that the parents who are the strictest when it comes to dating, they're parenting out of fear. They remember how they was as children. Yeah, they remember being in them streets. And I get it because as my mama would always say, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. So you scared of possibly raising you. I get it. And it's valid. But let's be honest, a lot of us didn't have guidance when it comes to dating as growing up because we grew up in a household that was like, you can't have no boyfriend. And now you scared because you know that you didn't listen to your mama and you ran out there and probably was doing some stuff you shouldn't have been doing. And you probably didn't have necessarily a good experience like I did. I wasn't out here, I was age restricted on my dating. We didn't have guidance. That's why some of us was out here wilding out. Yeah, you was probably wilding out as a kid because you didn't have no guidance. Yeah, either you was dating and your parents didn't know and maybe they didn't care. They weren't paying that close of attention, or they told you not to and you did it anyway. Which is, while we on the topic, that's exactly how a lot of teen pregnancies happen. Some of them don't even get to talk and they out here just thinking, oh, it's just sex. Boom, a baby. Yeah, I actually had a conversation with somebody who said they did not want to teach their daughter about ovulation because they like, oh no, then she'll know how to get pregnant. What? Or maybe she'll know how not to get pregnant. I don't know, ma'am. What? So y'all think ignorance is a form of protection? Yes, and ignorance is bliss until you have a grandbaby. Yeah. Until your teen have you a grandbaby. So whether we want to admit it or not, telling your teen not to do something does not automatically guarantee obedience. I know because I didn't listen. I was one of them ones. And because you probably ain't listen either. Telling them not to date does not keep them from liking people or being attracted to people. It's still going to happen. And let me remind you that it's a natural occurrence. Like this is natural for human beings. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they already out here dating. You ain't stopping shit. They doing it anyway behind your back. Don't tell them I told you, but they doing it anyway. I mean, it might be a few good in the bunch. It's like my mom said no, so is no. My dad said no, so is no. But most of them are doing. Have y'all seen these group chats? Have y'all went into your kid's phone? Are y'all on their IG messages and stuff? Are you in the DMs? They already doing it. They just doing it without guidance, which means it's going to be a lot of hiccups along the way. A lot of tears for no reason. A lot of heartbreak that could have been avoided. See, I remember my mom telling me, you can't outslick the slicker. I made it my personal mission to indeed outslick the slicker. And I did many times. Sorry, mama, but you challenged me and I accepted. Checkmate. I just went. So when we act like forbidding dating is going to keep our kids safe and untouched and they're just not going to do it, we lie to ourselves. You're lying. It doesn't prevent behavior. It just pushes it underground and forces them to learn how to be sneaky. It teaches them how to be sneaky. We really be out here assuming that kids don't know how to process certain emotions. We assume that our children can't process situations because they're young. And to me, that's naive. I don't think a lot of parents actually know their children. You'll be surprised at what they've had to deal with already on their own because they feel like they can't communicate with you because you're going to say, I know damn well you ain't got no boyfriend. Our children are able to process way more than what we give them credit for when they're properly guided. I remember coming across this article some years ago, and it was talking about how this young lady, she had finished school or high school and she went off to college and she got her first boyfriend and everything was going great. And he wound up breaking up with her. She took her own life. And I can't help but think if she had been allowed to date sooner and was properly guided, maybe she wouldn't have felt like that was the end. maybe that breakup wouldn't have felt like the end of the world. Dating is a skill and skills require practice. We would never hand our child a job and say, figure it out. You got it. Just go out there and get it, slugger. We would give them training, orientation, and support. That's what happens when you go out for a job for the first time. You're given training, you go through orientation, and you are able to get support. Whether that be moral support or service support, you have some questions, call this number. Either way, it is some support that you get when doing something for the first time. Most of the time, even riding a bike, you got somebody sitting behind you or standing behind you, running along, holding his bike. They don't just push you out there and say, go get it, slugger. But when it comes to dating, we want them to wait. No, let me correct myself. We tell our daughters to wait, because let's not ignore the fact that a lot of us can care less if our sons date. Hell, we encourage it. It's the girls that get told no. It's the girls that's left unprepared. And then we wonder why they're easily manipulated. I don't know. Maybe it's because they lack experience. Yeah, maybe it's because they lack experience. And then we sit back and we just magically expect them to know exactly what to do when they get old enough to date. So what happens? They wind up being out here dating with no tools, no guidance, no emotional regulation, just vibes and red flags. Teens should be allowed to date with guidance. I think teens should be allowed to date with guidance, because the goal isn't to protect them from life forever. The goal is to teach them how to navigate it. And I want to be very clear, because people like to get things misconstrued and they start getting extreme and they start assuming things. So let me specify. When I say teens should be allowed to date, I am not saying that your 13-year-old should be going on solo dates, getting picked up in a car by God knows who, and engaging in adult activities. Dating has levels, even for grown people. You go through the talking phase, the courting phase, whatever we just date, situationships, actually dating, engagements, marriage, is levels to this. And the same thing would apply for the younger age bracket. Age appropriate levels. That's what I'm talking about when I say children should be allowed to date. Dating at 13 might be just talking on the phone, being able to say that you actually have a boyfriend. It might look like sitting together at school activities. That's what I did when I was young and dating, and shouldn't have been, because my mama told me no, but I did it anyway. That was all it was. It was, oh, like, that's my boyfriend. Ooh la la. We sit together at lunch. He walked me to class. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Those were the things that I figured out early on, that I wanted a guy who was chivalrous and walk me to class and pull out my chair. I knew that I liked that type of stuff. I learned early on exactly what type of male I was interested in. And then I was able to build off of that. But in the Black community, for our young girls, even uttering the words that you have a boyfriend is treated like a violation. Like it automatically means something sexual. You say you got a boyfriend, automatically you letting this boy fill up on your booty, and y'all doing all this unnecessary stuff. And what? That is a part of the problem. That mindset right there is a part of the problem. Teaching teens about dating isn't encouraging them to have sex. It's encouraging them to have emotional intelligence. It's about raising people who turn into adults that know their worth, respect others, set boundaries, and the ones that's not going to confuse chaos with love. The ones that think that love should include all this unnecessary drama. And I just feel like if we truly want healthy relationships in our community, we have to start younger. We need to start teaching them younger. Not later, not when they're grown, but now. Yeah, right now. Start teaching them now. It's no harm in getting prepared soon, because those early stages, the talking, the interest, the crushes, that's where the learning happens. That's where you teach your daughters how they should be treated. That's where you see what type of boys they're actually drawn to. That's where you start having real conversations about self-respect, boundaries, self-worth, and how to say no. And that information is valuable, because if you notice that your daughter keep dating the undesirables, the boys who keep getting in trouble in school, the boys that are disrespectful, that's not something you should ignore. That's something that deserves guidance. You don't shame her. You don't panic. You pay attention. You like, oh, shoot, this what she drawn to? Let me put baby girl on game real quick. No. Let's stir you this away. And the same thing goes for our sons. We should be teaching our boys how to treat young girls early, because right now, pop culture is normalizing disrespect. And I know it's not new. Okay, the music I was listening to and the culture that I grew up in and was, and was able to see on the TVs and listen to the lyrics, it's always been glamorized for the longest periods of time right now, which is why we need to get ahead of the snowball. Yes. Because girls being called bitches is normalized. Girls being hypersexualized is normalized. So boys grow up thinking that behavior is acceptable because nobody ever corrected them. Dating isn't just about what your child likes, it's about what they're learning. Who they're attracted to, what behaviors do they tolerate? What do they think love look like? If your son is drawn to girls who have no supervision and already dressing provocative and speaking recklessly, that's not something you want to wait until he turned 18 to correct. That's the type of guidance you give right now. Because what you don't correct will eventually manifest and it start to elevate and go to other levels. It's almost like when kids are younger, they're learning the first 5 years. After that, they just keep evolving what they've already learned. That's exactly what dating is like when you learn the wrong way at a young age, when you learn the wrong things early, because they're still seeing it happen. And some of them are engaging in it already. But here's where a lot of parents get it twisted, because they feel like control, it feels safer than guidance. But control doesn't teach discernment. Yeah, it just delay rebellion. And preparation lasts longer than fear ever will. But here's the reality. If you don't teach your kids about dating, TikTok gonna teach them. They peers gonna teach them. Porn gonna teach them, and trauma gonna teach them. And none of those are qualified instructors. So dating is not the enemy. Ignorance is. And protecting our kids is not us pretending that they won't grow up. It means walking with them and teaching them while they do grow up. So we gotta stop acting surprised by the outcomes of the conversations we never had. Teach teens how to date, because one day they're gonna grow into adults and they'll either repeat what they were shown or struggle through what they were never taught. And I don't know about you, but I want better for the younger generation. And I know a lot of us have dads that are like, oh, my husband or, my child's father is teaching her how to navigate and how she should be treated. But I want y'all to realize that that's not quite the same thing. Yes, he can tell her like, oh, he should open the doors for you. Oh, they should bring you flowers. Oh, a guy should never try and force himself on you. He should treat you like this. He should say these type of things to you. Yes, fathers can do that. But I'm talking about when our children start having these feelings, who do they go to talk to if we're constantly telling them, no, you can't date? They automatically know that that's not a conversation that's on the table. I can't talk to my mom about this because she's busy saying that I can't even have a boyfriend. So I already know what she's going to say when I come and tell her about my new crush, about this boy. Don't worry about no boy. You need to put your head in the books. That's what we always told. Put your head in them books. Yeah. And now you older. You got all the degrees and you still don't know how to date. You still don't know how to choose them. You still don't know how to pick them. Why? Because you ain't got no experience. All your experience have been with your head in the books. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Education is great. It's awesome. But it's not going to help you with your relationships. And I'm a person that believes in doing both. And the moment my child shows me that they are not able to juggle both, easy. It's the same thing with their phones. You're showing me that you don't know how to do your homework and create time for yourself to go on social media. You want to intertwine them, or you want to be on social media and not do your homework. Boom, taking your phone away. It's also a privilege that we can use to take away. If you're not showing me, my son is dating, okay? And he is 15. And the moment he shows me that he's not able to keep his grades up and have a girlfriend, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Now, I know it's only so much I can do because they go to school together. However, yeah, y'all not going to be going on no dates no more. Yeah. No. Let me block this phone number too. With all due respect, baby girl. It's not you, it's him. He got to get his grades up. And if you really like him, you going to make sure them grades is up then. You going to make sure you let him know, hey, I hope you did your homework because I'm trying to go on a date this weekend. So it's not just about the things that I feel like we just look at the regular small things like, and it's not small to say that it's not important because those things are still important, but just like, oh, boys should treat you like this. They should do this. They should do that. You don't know what your child is actually drawn to. And furthermore, I don't think that we realize that assertive dating is a thing where our children are drawn to people that are like their dad. And if some of us don't have good baby daddies, some of us don't have good, role models for our daughters to even look up to when it's pertaining to their fathers. So now what? She's just supposed to do what now? Wait until she get older to find out about all the do's and the don'ts? Let your children date. Don't hate. Let your children date. That's all I have for today. Thank you for tuning in to the G Spot. I am your host, G Majesty. I hope I turned your opinions on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, love, peace, and hair grease.